since we have fought 3 melees, both of them will be fatigued. And this is going to have a real impact on turn 2. Hey War Gamers, welcome back. Purple Druid presents Chainmail Battles. And today we are going to do another sample demonstration with Armored Foot versus Medium Horse. We have 16 Armored Foot with a move of 6 inches, a charge of 6 inches, and a morale rating of 7. We have, 12 medium horse with a move of 18, a charge of 24, and a morale rating of 8. And so we're going to go ahead and do a sample battle here. When you don't know the distance, you need to declare what you're going to do. The orders for each of these will be written down in advance and then executed at the same time. Because we do simultaneous movement, we'll move each unit half and then the other half to see what happens. Now, the medium horse are just armed with hand weapons. They are not armed with lances. Also, the armored foot are armed with axes. So basically just hand weapons versus hand weapons. So both units have declared that they're going to charge. And even though the distance is too great for this one, they do anticipate melee in this turn, so they are eligible to declare a charge. And so let's go ahead and move each one halfway and see where that leaves us. First of all, the armored foot are able to move 3 inches. And the medium horse will then move 12 inches. And that's 5, 10, 11, 12. So that leaves 1 inch of space. Now, this is where I like to do the morale check that each unit needs to do for a cavalry charge. Now, all foot units have to make a morale check when charged by cavalry. If the foot units charge the cavalry back, both units will have to make that check. So let's do this one-on-one here. The defending unit is armored foot versus medium horse. They will need a 7. So that's 7. The medium horse versus essentially armored foot, they will need a 6. And because they're both charging, the footmen will get a +1 to their roll and the cavalry will get a +2. So let's go ahead and roll this. And that's a 5, so they would fail. And that is a 7, 8, 9, so they would pass. Now, if they fail, they will retreat 1 1/2 moves with their backs to the enemy and have to rally. Now, so far they've moved 12 inches. 1 1/2 moves is 9. And there's about an inch in between them. So that means that they would move back 9 inches with their backs to the enemy, and they would be able to continue their charge another 12 inches. So they would be able to attack them in the rear. So let's go ahead and see how that plays out. First of all, we need to find out if we've got 9 inches here, which I believe we do. So that is 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, that's not right. 9 inches from here. There we go. So 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is where the foot will wind up. And since they have 12 inches left, we have 5, 10. It's 10 inches to catch up to them. So they will hit them in the back. Now, because they're being hit in the back, the foot will not get to defend. The cavalry will get to attack as one level higher. So they're going to be able to attack as heavy horse. Heavy horse versus armored foot is 2 dice per man and a 5 or 6 kills. Now, they also have an impetus bonus, so that'll be 3 dice per man. So that's going to be a total of 12 dice. We have 4 men. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is 4 casualties. So we'll remove 4 casualties from the line of scrimmage. And then we will do the post-melee morale. So the side with less casualties has 4 less casualties times a d6, which is 5, so that's 20. The total difference of casualties is 4. So again, the medium horse will get the 4 points because they have had less casualties. Surviving troops, there are 4 surviving troops times 8. 4 times 8 is 32. They have 0 times 7, which is 0. Now that's 24 and 32, which is 56. And since there are fewer than 20 troops on either side, we'll double that score to 112. So here on page 15, you can see that 100 plus is surrender. So that means our armored foot will surrender immediately. And because there are 12 of them left, 3 of these cavalry will need to come off and guard them and lead them off the table. And there you have it. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to hit pause on this and reset this. And we're going to redo the battle, assuming that both units made their morale check, and see how that goes. Okay, so here we are back at the point where we check morale. We're going to assume that they both passed their morale check. And so we'll move these both forward until they're in base contact. And now we're going to have the melee. As previously noted, both units will be getting an impetus bonus, which is going to make this a little more dangerous. Medium horse versus armored foot is 2 dice per man. That's going to become 3 dice per man. 3, 6, 9, 12. And armored foot versus medium horse is 1 die per 2 men, which would normally be 1, 2 dice. But they'll get an extra die, so it'll be 2 dice per 2 men. And everyone needs a 6 to get a kill. There we go. Now we got some casualties. All right. The cavalry caused 2 casualties, and the infantry caused none. So let's go through our post-melee morale. Step 1, the cavalry have fewer casualties, 2 fewer casualties indeed. So that will be times 4. So that's 8 points for them. They will also get 2 points for having more surviving troops. They have 4 surviving troops times 8. 4 times 8 is 32. They have 2 surviving troops times 7, which is 14. The difference there is 18, which is doubled to 36 because we have less than 20 figures on a side. And a difference of 36 means that our armored foot are going to move back 1/2 move in good order. And that's the same turn. Now, this was the first round of combat. So when the armored foot move back 3 inches, then we're going to go ahead and dress the ranks because they're in good order. And these guys' charge range is 24. They moved 12 and then another inch. So that's 13. So they have 11 inches of charge move remaining. Let's go ahead and mark that. So they're going to move 3 inches. And then we'll take that off. So they're able to catch up, which means that they are able to re-engage. Now, because there's already been a battle, neither side is going to have the impetus bonus for charging. So that's going to leave us 2 dice for the foot and 8 dice for the horse. Okay. And now we roll again. All right, this time the infantry cause a casualty and the cavalry do not. So the infantry get 1 times 2, 2 points. Surviving numbers, 4 minus 3 is 1. And then we have 3 times 8 is 24. And we have 4 times 7 is 28. 28, 31 for a total. The difference is 7 multiplied by 2 because there's less than 20 figures, so that's a 14. Now that's less than 19, so that means we're going to have an immediate melee again. So this will be the 3rd melee in the turn, and that will be the final. So we're going to dress the ranks. And because the armored foot technically won, they are able to expand their frontage. And so these guys can move up to 1/2 move, which is 3 inches. So we have 1, 2, 3 inches there, and he can come here. Likewise, this one can come around, and this one can come forward. We'll move him up there. So now we have a little bit different odds for this battle. Also, because they're stuck in here, the horse are going to be modified as standing. All right, sorry, correction on that. They do not count as standing because it does not count during the first turn of combat. If this combat has 0 to 19 as a result for this melee, this third melee, then in the next turn they will count as standing and be less. But they still do not get the impetus bonus. So let's go back and get our dice here. Medium horse versus armored foot. 2 dice per man, 6 kills. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'll be 12 dice. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And armored foot versus medium horse is 1 per 2 men and a 6 kills. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That will be 3 white dice. Now, these 2 men are on the flanks, so they're going to count as light horse. Light horse versus medium horse is 1 die per 2 men and a 6 kills. There are 2 of them, so they'll get an extra die. And everybody needs 6s. So, here we go. And the cavalry have 2 6s. So we'll remove these 2. And for the post-melee morale, the cavalry have fewer casualties. So that's 2 times 1, which is 2 points. The cavalry have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 surviving guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's no points awarded for having more survivors. Medium horse, 6 times 8 is 48. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Armored foot, 6 times 7 is 42. So this is 50. This is 42, so the difference is 8. Again, doubled, 16. So melee will continue. And that means in the next turn, the cavalry are going to count as 1 less. They're going to count as light horse because they are not charging or moving. Now, this is the end of our phase. We have 4 casualties out of 16. That's 25%. The armored foot can go to 33%. We only have 1 casualty for the cavalry, so neither unit will have to make a morale check for excess casualties. And at this point, 50 to 42. This time, the cavalry will be able to dress ranks and lap around. So we're going to go ahead and move this one here and then this one here. And that will be the end of the turn. And since we have fought 3 melees, both of them will be fatigued. And this is going to have a real impact on turn 2. So for turn 2, we will instantly go to melee for these 2 units. The horses did not move, and so they are going to count as light. However, they're fatigued, so they're going to count as armored foot. The armored foot are fatigued, so they will count as heavy foot. So now, armored foot versus heavy foot is 1 die per man, 5 or 6 kills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then for heavy foot versus armored foot, 1 die per 2 men, 6 kills. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that'll be 3 dice. So the green dice need 5s. The white dice need 6s. And there's one casualty for each. Let's see, let's take off these two. One casualty each. No one has fewer casualties. More survivors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 survivors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 survivors. So the cavalry have more survivors by 1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 8 is 48. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 7 is 35. So the total there is 49 to 35. That's a difference of 9 times 2 is 18. We're going to go to melee continues. And now we will go ahead and dress our ranks. They will move there. And he can move, he'll stay there. Because they actually won the combat. They had more points, 49 to 35. So let's go ahead and count up our dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Armored foot versus heavy foot, which is 1 die per man. So that's going to be 3, 6 dice. And then for the foot, they are going to count as heavy versus armored, 1 die per 2 men. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're going to get 3 dice. So we have 1 casualty caused by each side. Once again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 survivors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 survivors. So no points for step 1, no points for step 2. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 7. Let's write this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 survivors times 8 is 40. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 7 is 35. So we will go to immediately another melee, and we'll go ahead and dress these ranks. So he's going to move here. 40 to 35 means that the cavalry won. So they can also continue to lap around, and they can move up to 6 inches. So this one can come around the side here. And we can move these over like so. And now we're going to have a lot of dice. Now, armored foot versus heavy foot is 1 per man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are going to count as light horse, punched back up because they're on the flank. Light horse versus heavy foot is 2 dice per man. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be 8 more dice. 2, 4, 6, 8. I may have messed that up last turn. And then we have heavy foot versus armored foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 dice per 2 men. That's 2 dice. On the flanks, we have heavy foot versus light horse. 1 die per 2 men. So he's attacking on the flank, and these two are attacking No, this one's attacking on the flank, so that's another die. So 1 die per 2 men. All right, that's where we are. All right, so the green kill on a 5 or a 6. I've got 2, 3 casualties caused by our cavalry and 1 casualty caused by the troops. All right, so step 1, the cavalry have 2 fewer casualties times 6. That's going to be a 12. Step 2, survivors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 survivors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 survivors. So they're going to get 3 more points for that. And then 8 times 8 is 64. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 35. 4 minus 39, 9, doubled to 58. And our melee chart says 58 is back 1 move in good order. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, because we fought these extra rounds, there's, again, no more impetus bonus. They're not going to be going anywhere. We'll get these out of here. Each unit is, again, fatigued for fighting 3 more melees. And then we'll move these guys back. I'm just going to move the whole tray 3 inches. And then they'll be able to escape. Now, this one is surrounded. He's going to surrender. So I'm just going to lay him down. He can't go anywhere. And then that'll be the end of turn 2. However, at the end of the turn, we have to check for excess casualties. Now, there were 16 of these. They are now down to 6. And for armored foot, they will need a 6 or better in order to remain in play. And so they get an 8. So they would remain in play, and they would take another turn. And then they won't have to check again until they've exceeded 2/3, which, starting with 16, that's going to be 11. So once they have lost 11 and they're down to 5 units, they'll have to check again. So if they take 2 more casualties, then they're just plain gone. So anyway, that's the end of turn 2. I hope this has been educational. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying this How to Play Chainmail series. And as always, keep on gaming.